preachers of Detroit. And on this episode, I am calling this Bowling for Jesus because the scene at the bowling alley was just like everything to me. I really enjoyed the dialogue, the conversations between the Shelby Fives and the other PK's kids. And the scene starts off with Kiera meeting with Nikki at her home, and they start talking about just small talk about different things that's been going on with them. And Nikki tells Kiera, we should get together. And Kiera was like, yeah, I was planning to meet, the Shelbys and some of the other PK's kids. Let's get together and let's go bowling, which I think is good because PK kids need other PK kids to talk to because, like they stated in this episode, they're the most judged most of the time. People always criticize them more than they criticize other kids in the church or in the neighborhood. The pastor's kids get ridiculed, and I know that firsthand experience. And so they plan a trip to the bowling alley. Then we get to the scene with the Shelby Five in the car singing their hit song, No Brainer. I was like, is this part of the episode or is this their feature video? Because they kind of, the editing kind of looked like they were trying to do a video. I like that song, No Brainer. I'm ready for the Shelby Five really just to blow up on the gospel scene, the contemporary scene, or even the secular. I can see them doing, basically whatever they want to do in the music industry because they're youthful. They have the look to cross over and to do gospel or to do both. The No Brainer song, I definitely like that song, and I'm ready for them just to explode. So they all meet up at the bowling alley. We get to meet Nikki's brother. He shows up. Bishop Ellis' son finally does something with the other kids. He shows up, and all the Shelbys are there. And the girls start talking, and one of the things they get on is they're talking about how much of a role they play in the ministry with their parents. And of course, the Shelby Five is sitting there saying that basically we're there, every time the church doors open, we're there. We help our fathers. We're there to uplift his hands and take the burden of ministry off of him, and we share that burden as well. And then we see Kiera, she's saying, that she doesn't have to be there every day the church is open, that her father has been called to ministry, that she hasn't, which I kind of understand where she's coming from, but from how I grew up, if your dad is called to be a pastor or your mom is called a pastor, the whole family, you basically get sucked into that. So I can see, it's a good thing that her father does not force that on them because not everybody has that luxury. I mean, if your mom's a pastor, your dad's a pastor or a deaconess or the right-hand person to the pastor or very prominent in that ministry, then the whole family has, you basically cater to the head of the house, whatever they're doing. So I totally, understood where Kiera was coming from. And Kiera was talking to them also about men, dating, and all this kind of stuff. And Nikki approached the Shelby Five, the girls, and she was stating, do you all see yourself dating? Do you have a boyfriend? Does he have to be saved? And I really love the Shelby Five, the girls, their answer to the questions that Nikki and Kiera posed to them, because to me it was like they stood their ground. And they were basically saying that they want a guy who's a Christian. They don't want to date an unsaved man because they have to deal with all those other issues. And Nikki was basically saying that you could find a guy in the church and he has just as much issues as a guy in the world, which is true. You can find anybody in the church who can have just as much issues as anyone. The thing is to get to date people, to get to know people, because when you're dating people, you got to understand the type of world we live in. We live in a world where people come with bags, they come with baggage, basically, and you just have to be able to differentiate what you're willing to accept in your life. There are people who, they have mental health issues. There are people who have mom and daddy issues. There are people who have, issues with spending, not keeping a job, not being a good provider. People who, maybe don't only want to date, the opposite sex, who maybe have dated the same sex. I mean, you have all of that in the church and outside of the church. You have people who are abused and, people who have issues. And you have to differentiate what type of baggage you're going to have in your life when you talk about building a life with someone. And I definitely appreciate the Shelby girls, their answer, because I think people are pushing people too far to get in relationships, to be married. And the thing is, we're not getting to know people. People are dating and getting married within 6 weeks. I mean, come on, do you really know this dude? Do you really know this woman? And sometimes people in the church push people to get married without really, getting to know that person. You don't know if this person, has mental health issues, if this person, their health. I mean, are they healthy? Have you went and got an STD check before? You got all of that stuff plays in the part when you talk about spending your life with a person. Because when you talk about two becoming one, whatever they have, you're going to have in your life. And you have to really, you know, count up the cost to see if you're willing to take that. And the only way you really know that is by dating people and really vetting the people in your life to say, hey, this is what I can deal with, this is what I can't, and maybe we can't be together, we could just be friends. So on that tip, I really like how the Shelby girls held their own and basically said that they are just going to wait till they find the right man or till the right man finds them, and they didn't really care what Nikki and Kiera had to say on that. And it was good to see them all bowling and just having fun on that. Then we get to a scene where Nikki and Kiera go out to eat, and basically they're talking about the bowling alley event with all the PK's kids, and Nikki just basically said something that I didn't really agree with. She was like, to the Shelby girls, they should just get a man and flow with it. Like the stuff I stated previously, you can't just get a man or a woman and flow with it, because when two becomes one, whatever those people have, you have. So whatever issues they have, whatever personality conflicts, whatever, you just can't just get a man or a woman and flow with it. You really have to date, ask the important questions, talk to people who know those people, because we're living in a time now that people can say one thing and put on a facade, and the next moment they're trying to kill you or stalk you. So I don't believe in that, just get a man or get a woman and just flow with it. But Nikki did state something about Courtney. She said Courtney, you know, she's been out there, she's done stuff. And we have seen, you know, in the blogs, people have written things that Courtney had some kind of, like, she's going to talk about on the next episode, some issues where she kind of fell from grace and had sexual sins, that she wasn't as pure as her father stated in previous episodes that all his children are pure. And she's going to talk about that next episode on Preachers of Detroit, which is good because she basically said in the previews of next episode that she's not perfect. She has made mistakes and has fell into sexual sins too. So that conversation goes over well. And basically, from what I get from Nikki and Kiera, is that they're going to live their lives. They're going to support their parents as much as they can. But when it comes to being in church every day, they're not with it. But they still have a relationship with God. But you know, that is something to say, because there are a lot of women in church whose husbands or boyfriends are not saved. So, I mean, some people are saying you're unequally yoked because of that, and some people say you need to just leave him and find a man who's saved. But, I mean, you got to make your own decisions on that. I ain't telling nobody how to live their life. Bishop Langston meets with Damian Jones, who is the uncle of Anthony, and he talks to him about Anthony's situation with selling drugs, and now he's in jail, and that he'll be released soon, and that he just wants Anthony to start off on a good track. And Bishop Langston is basically telling him, you know, I've been there, I've sold drugs, I've been in and out of jail, and I know how it feels to be a young man just looking for answers. And Anthony's family comes out, and his mother says that Anthony, she had his cell phone, and she read in there where he had sent a message to somebody stating that he wanted to commit suicide. And the family was just really upset about that, and they wanted some type of intervention for him once he got home out of jail. And Bishop Langston said that he would definitely help. Now, I really like Bishop Langston because I think for him to have I think he has a mega church, and to be hands-on with them and to come there and to say all this stuff that he's going to do and actually lives up to it, I think that's really commendable. Bishop Langston meets with his wife, Robin. He tells Robin about the situation, and Robin automatically goes into like, first wife, you know, pastor's wife, like, let's do this, let's get this done, I'm gonna talk to the family, I'm gonna meet with some of the deacons, so when he gets out, we can have this in place. Basically, she's trying to strategize, you know, to get this guy transitioning from jail back into the community in a healthy way. And she does that. She meets with his family, she meets with some of the deacons in the church, and they basically have, you know, they're brainstorming about ways they could help him, how he can come out and have the support that he needs there. And I think Robin did an awesome job with that, because she stated that she was a probation officer and she is an attorney, and one of the reasons she wanted to do that because she saw how the kids in the justice system were treated, and that if they didn't get the right help and the guidance once they got back out into the streets, that they would return back to the same lifestyle that they led before. And we see that Pastor Langston, he's hands-on with this young man. When he gets out of jail, Pastor Langston is the first one there to greet him. And I thought that was just awesome for him to see a bishop there that see Pastor Langston, you know, just standing there and just saying, wow, I'm here to help you. I'm going to make sure everything goes well with you, and I'm going to make sure that this transition from jail back into society, it's a productive one, it's a healthy one, and I'm going to be with you every step of the way. And I really, you know, enjoyed Bishop Langston and his wife, Robin, you know, their support and their input on this part, because I think that that's what a lot of people need. They need to see that people love them, you know, and that they're willing to help them through, because not everybody knows how to do it. Some people, if you don't know better, you don't do better. You go back to the same things you did before. And for Pastor Langston, Bishop Langston, excuse me, and his wife to go out of their way and really help this family, that was real awesome. Bishop Bullock meets up with Pastor Ellis at Pastor Ellis' home, and he talks to Pastor Ellis about, you know, running for city council, and that he went to the town hall meeting, and basically Bishop Bond snubbed him, you know, with talking to important people at the town hall meeting. Bishop Bullock is still saying that he, you know, he felt disrespected. He felt that Bishop Bond lied to him, and that he would like to get a chance to talk to her along with Bishop Ellis to kind of rectify the issues that took place in the previous episode. Bishop Ellis, you know, definitely shout out first of all to Bishop Ellis, because Bishop Ellis lost a lot of weight, and he's looking younger and healthier now. So definitely shout out to that, because you got to take care of your body and all that good stuff while you're doing the work of the Lord. You need to be healthy as well. So definitely shout out to Bishop Ellis. But Bishop Ellis does tell Pastor Bullock that, you know, how he comes across to people, that you can't come to people and, you know, berate them, and then you're arguing with them, and then you're trying to lash out at them, and then you turn around 5 days later and you need their help. And he was saying that he'll do what he can, but it's still up to those 8 city council people, the vote that they want to cast, because it's up to them who they want in that seat. And Bishop Langston said he understood that. So then we get to a scene where Bishop Carlotta Vaughn meets Bishop Ellis at his church, and she talks to him about what specifically happened at the town hall meeting, and she tells him, I was going to introduce Pastor Bullock to Brenda Jones and some of the other important people, but because Brenda Jones came late, I couldn't really introduce her, and so because she had to get up to speak and the meeting was going to start, so I was planning to do it later. But Pastor Bullock, as usual, got upset, got in his feelings, made a scene, and he left before, you know, the introduction could take place. Pastor Ellis said, let's all have lunch or dinner and let's talk about this so we can rectify this, because it's really not about how you two feel about each other. It's about the people in Detroit, and we want the right person for this position. When they meet for lunch, you know, Bishop Bullock, he comes in, and Pastor Langston is there, Bishop Carlotta Vaughn, and Pastor Bishop Neil Ellis is there. He hugs everyone except for Bishop Vaughn. And it's basically, it was a snub, like she snubbed him at the town hall meeting, but it also showed his immaturity as well. Pastor Langston, he has a lot of energy, he has a lot of zeal, but he needs to know how to channel that, and he also needs to know how to agree to disagree, and not how to disrespect people when they don't agree with you. It would just help him out so much, and he would go further in getting the things he wants done in Detroit for the people there if he knew how to do that. And basically he tells them that Bishop Carlotta Vaughn snubbed him, that she wasn't true on her promise, and that she's a liar. And you know, Bishop Vaughn is not the type who's just going to sit back and take that. Of course, she was starting to, you know, bite back and say, you know, you left in an uproar, and it's my prerogative. I get to introduce you when I want to. And it was just a lot of back and forth. And basically, Bishop Ellis told both of them, look, we have to make sure that we're not going against each other, that we're here for the good of the people of Detroit, and that's what's going to matter, not how we feel about each other. So we have to come and have some consensus together so we can do things to help the people of Detroit. And really, that's really what that whole meeting was about, that, you know, sometimes you got to put your ego on the shelf, and you got to do what's in the common good of the people, because it's all about the people, to help people. So I was really excited about this episode. Again, I think the Shelby 5 again last week. The Shelbys, the parents took it, and the kids took it this weekend. I was just excited to see all the PKs get together and just have fun. I'm looking forward to next week's episode when Courtney talks about her sexual sins and how she fell. But, I mean, everybody has struggles. Everybody has done something. So, you know, I'm not going to get up here and beat up on Courtney for whatever she did. You know, you're over it. You brush yourself off. You get up, move on with life. Life is good. Life still goes on. Until next time, I'm your guy Dawson. Take care of yourself and each other. Live the best life. Always love yourself. Until next time, peace.